Good morning, everybody. Today we'll be playing some Amonkhet Remastered Premier Draft. I've gotten a couple of requests to play this. I think people might be interested, but whether or not I continue to play this basically depends on how much people watch it and whether or not you like it. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I've not yet had all my coffee this morning, as my tone of voice and demeanor will probably tell you. Alright. Driven to Despair. Despair is hilarious if you're putting creatures on the board. Looks like... I have to refamiliarize myself. I drafted the original Amonkhet, but this looks like Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation cards together. I think I gotta go Driven to Despair. I think this card's just too good. Obelisk Spider is pretty good, but we're gonna be pretty hard into green-black, I think. It's 1-0 for each card with cycling in your graveyard. Crocodile the Crossing. Oh, I remember Crocodile the Crossing. The hasty boy. There's also Ketra's Avenger, which is a very strong effect, because you just attack and exert and, like, free combat every other turn. Claim to Fame is fun. I'm gonna go with Crocodile the Crossing, though. Baleful Ammit. The lifelink I remember being kind of important. I know this format's probably a little bit different. It's also Puncturing Blow, which is one of the best removal spells in the format, one of the few actually capable of killing the gods. Okay, there's a 3-mana 2/2 with Death Touch and Cycling. There's also a Marauding Bone Slasher. We do not have another zombie, so Marauding Bone Slasher can't block, but that's fine. It's a 3-mana 3/3. I don't really want to be playing any of these cards. There's an Ornery Kadu. I know green-black plays a lot in the -1/-1 counter space in this format. I think taking Ornery Kadu or a Evolving Wilds here is totally fine. I'm gonna go with the creature. Feral Prowler, when it dies, draw a card is fair. There's an Unburden. Mind Rot with cycling is not bad. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, it gains indestructible until end of turn. I think I'm going to go with Pitiless Vizier. Having a guy that gains indestructible frequently seems pretty good. Gravedigger is a great effect, pretty much in any limited deck I've ever played. Just picking up a creature out of the grave is good. As long as you control a desert, or there's a desert card in your graveyard, it gets 1-0 and has Trample. 3-mana 3/2 is not bad. There's also Scarab Feast, which is Grave Hate plus Cycling. I think having one of these is sideboard in your deck for or a sideboard card that you can basically main deck for your opponents that are running like blue, white, and Balm or something is fantastic. I'm going to take Gravedigger. I need to start getting lower drop creatures though, that's the problem. Miasmatic Mummy is not bad. Cartouche of Ambition, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature gets 1-0 or 1/1 and lifelink. So we can ping off X1s of our opponent and give our guys lifelink. Lifelink being one of the most broken of the keywords for limited. I'm going to take a Horror of the Broken Lands, and we're going to try and go for like a cycling sub-theme here. We'll take an Evolving Wilds. I like having at least one. Haze of Pollen, sideboard. It'd be good versus an aggro deck. Wander in Death. Wander in Death is a good effect. Wasteland Scorpion's not a bad pickup. Sorry, I just realized, like, out of frame because of my positioning of my chair. I'm on the other monitor. Like, so not only is my camera flipped, camera's in the same spot, but the image is flipped. And I'm looking at the other monitor now. So it's a little bit different for me. Alright, an Hour of Promise. Hour of Promise can be good. We don't need to go super huge on mana though. And we don't have like any deserts right now. We do have incentives to pick them up as we're starting to get some, like, cycling payoffs. So maybe we'll take Hour. We'll see how it works. Okay. Doomfall is a fantastic card. It answers just about everything. There's also a Doomed Dissenter, which I wouldn't mind having. Stinging Shot's okay. Ronus' Monument. Green creature spells cost 1 last cast. Whenever you cast a creature spell. Ooh, actually, for like almost all creatures, I don't want to take Ronus' Monument. We don't get very much off the cost reduction, but like, seems fantastic. I'm going to take Ronus' Stalwart as we kind of need low drop creatures. Hey, new perspectives. That would be fun. Alright, our options are Greater Sandworm or another Baleful Amonkhet. I think I'm going to take the Amonkhet. I love Greater Sandworm, and I might play New Perspectives in Historic. That might be a fun deck to play. We'll take the Amonkhet for now. There's a Desert, if we want to pick up a Desert for Hour of Promise. There's also Cartouche of Strength, which is removal, or a Miasmatic Mummy. Mummy would not be terrible, but I think I'm going to go with the Cartouche. Okay, Mummy, Supernatural Stamina. We don't really have any combat tricks yet. I think I'm fine taking a Supernatural Stamina. Resilient Kenra. May have target creature get +X for X as its power. Alright, we'll take Kenra. Quarry Hauler probably wouldn't be bad with as much -1/-1 counters as we're putting on stuff. Our curve is very heavy on 3. I'm going to take a Mummy. No, I'm going to take Quarry Hauler. If I remember correctly, Amonkhet was a little bit slower of a format. Take Shed Weakness. I could take Doom Dissenter. I want to take Doom Dissenter, actually. Alright, Quarry Hauler, I guess. Unburden or Dissenter's Deliverance. I'm going to take Unburden for the side. Shed Weakness is fine. Guess we'll take a Desert just for Hour. Okay. Even Mind Sensor. Not really looking to play that. Manglehorn. I remember being played as, like, sideboard card in a few formats, I think. Hooded Brawler. Just a big creature that exerts for more damage. Another creature that counts deserts, or Scarab Feast. I'm going to take Sidewinder Naga. We're going to look for black and green deserts, basically. Throne of the God Pharaoh. Okay, so we are an aggressive deck, so Throne of the God Pharaoh actually kind of makes sense. There's also a Final Reward. I know this card is like the premium removal card of the set, but I always had terrible luck with it. I'm going to take Throne. Kenra Eternal has Afflict. Shatterstorm? I don't remember that being an Amonkhet. Is this part of the Amonkhet Remastered? They're introducing more stuff to Historic. I'm going to take Doomfall. Start to finish. Bantu's Monument. I think I'll take a Bantu's Monument. It'll help with a lot of the cost reduction. Beneath the Sands. We don't really have a reason to go super big on mana. I think I'm just going to take a Hooded Brawler here. Apatra, Vizier of Poisons. Yeah, I think that goes well with a lot of the cards we picked. Obelisk Spider. All right. So we're doing some -1/-1 counter shenanigans. Nice. I don't think we'd be playing an Ipnu Rivulet. I'll just take another Doomfall. Take Manglehorn for the sideboard. Another Cartouche of Strength would be good. Pitiless Vizier is probably not bad either. How many creatures do we have? Okay, we have enough creatures. I'll take Cartouche of Strength. Stinging Shot seems decent for the sideboard. And same with Scarab Feast. Beneath the Sands can technically be fixing. It's also got cycling for our cycling payoff cards. And another Scarab Feast. Okay. Take a look at what we're dealing with here. We have way too many 3-drops. Okay. We're not playing Hour. We have no deserts at all. Driven is actually a 2-mana spell, either half. Okay, our 4-mana and 5-mana plays are fine. We probably only need 1 Doomfall. Get rid of Beneath the Sands for now. Sidewinder Naga is coming out because I don't have any deserts. I have 1 off-color desert, I should mention, but I'm probably not playing it. Okay, I need to cut 5 cards. Most should be non-creatures. Oh, excuse me. Oh, this is horrible. Alright, most should be non-creatures. Cut Wander in Death. Is there a way to group creatures separately? There is not. I abuse that all the time on Moto. I really like the monuments, though. I get rid of Shed Weakness. It's good, but I don't think it's that good. 3 more cards. Cut 1 land. And if I do, it's probably gonna be a swamp. I'm gonna drop a Feral Prowler, and then I cut all the cards with cycling, didn't I? Except Horror, Pitiless Vizier doesn't have cycling, but gets paid off by cycling. Wasteland Scorpion. I might cut Pitiless Vizier because we only have like one way to turn it on, and I think we'd rather cast Horror. The Wasteland Scorpion at least has the ability to fight things with Death Touch. Okay, I'm going to cut Pitiless Vizier, which might be a mistake. But I think we have our 40. Let's try this out. Alright, we're against somebody with the new skin. I think this hand is fine. It's a little slow, but it's not that bad. Okay, opponent did mulligan. If we draw Hapatra, this hand's insane. Okay, start swamp. Man, I have not played on Arena in a while now. Opponent plays a Trespasser's Curse. Gets in for 1. We take 1. Play green, pass the turn. Play Forest. My god. Play green mana. Okay, opponent plays a Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. They can give it haste and ping us, but only if they have a desert or a desert in their grave. We draw a Horror of the Broken Lands. We're going to play Hooded Brawler first. Opponent didn't read their own card. The sound effects for the dog are coming through. Blur of Blades. Put a -1/-1 counter on target creature, and then it deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. I might have to turn off sound effects, because like that's really annoying. Right, play a swamp. Go to combat. Attack and exert. Okay, opponent blocks. That's fine. We can either take a counter off of Hooded Brawler. You know what, I actually think that's fine. We'll take a counter off of Hooded Brawler. Would it be sound effects, voice, or ambience? I think it was ambience. Okay, I give this haste. You can put a 1/1 counter, or -1/-1 on something, that's fine. Okay. It was not ambience, as the dog is still being annoying. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Play Horror of the Broken Lands. Is it voice? Probably not. It's just straight up sound effects. Nest of Scarabs. Whenever you put 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create that many black insect creature tokens. Alright. Well, we untap. We're going to play Baleful Amit. We're going to put the counter here. Okay. Attack and exert. Attack and attack. If my opponent blocks Quarry Hauler, I'm going to Supernatural Stamina it. Okay, opponent is blocking that creature, so I'm going to cycle. We'll pump the Horror. We'll draw a card. Okay, it's a swap. Man, I am still waking up. That's horrible. Play a swap so we can leave up Supernatural Stamina at basically any point. Okay, opponent cycles Unburden. That resolves. Attack for lethal. Oh no, it's not lethal. It's one-off lethal. Cool. Well, even if our opponent has a Sweltering Suns, we survive it. They kind of got mana screwed this game, but... Okay, they cycle a Hollow one. And they concede. Alright. Oh, for some reason I thought I was playing the best of 3 draft. I must have selected the wrong one. Okay, well, I don't know what to do about that. I guess we'll play it out. Sorry, everybody. I thought I picked traditional draft, but I guess in my tired stupor, I selected premier draft, and the other one's traditional draft. I'll need to do traditional draft. My bad. Alright, if we draw a swamp, this is actually pretty fantastic. We do have a cycler, so I'm pretty willing to keep this, actually. What is that noise? I'm gonna keep this. We're gonna risk drawing a swamp. We have more swamps than anything else. Star Forest. Opponent plays a Kenra Eternal. Okay, cycle. Come on, swamp. Man, if we could have curved swamp into Ornery Kadu, it'd be great. Alright, we're passing, because there's nothing we can really play this turn, which sucks. Totally my bad. I'm going to discard Quarry Hauler, because if we ever do make it to 4 mana, we'll have Graph Digger to get it back. Okay, negative in for 2, we go to 16. They play nothing. There's a swamp. I'm going to play Hooded Brawler, because I suspect my opponent has removal, and if they do, they might use it on this rather than Hapatra. Plus, if we draw another black source, we can play Hapatra and play Supernatural Stamina. Trespasser's Curse. A Cartouche of Zeal. 1/1 in haste. And this can't be blocked. Target creature can't block this turn, okay. Yeah, we're gonna do this turn. I know we could get more value out of it with Hapatra, but I want to gain some life. We're not going to exert, we're just going to attack. Like I said, really want to draw another swamp. That would be perfect. Resilient Kenra. Okay. Play Resilient Kenra. Pump here. Lose some life. Attack for 6. By not exerting, we're gaining more life turn over turn. Block here. Supernatural Stamina. We're gonna get back Resilient Kenra. Oh, I could have blocked here. I forgot that Supernatural Stamina pumps power. I just played with that card, Double Masters. I should know these things. Oh man, forgive me everybody, that's terrible. Have it pump itself. Yeah, we'll take action. Okay, opponent plays a Wasteland Scorpion. We untap and get a forest. Well, play a forest. Go ahead and cast Driven, then cast Despair. And this is pretty brutal because we should Mind Rot the last cards in their hand as well as draw a couple cards. I am going to exert here just for a little bit of extra damage. Opponent has to discard 2 cards and we get to draw 2 cards. Man, that card is broken. And opponent scoops it up. Alright, we ranked up. Alright, let's go again. Let's go again. Alright, we have Bantu's Monument, we have Death Touch and Fight, and Lifelink and Fight as well. I think I'm willing to keep this. Okay. So, start Forest, or start Swamp, pass the turn. I might actually cycle Horror of the Broken Lands, but my opponent's playing a 1/4, so I'm probably not going to. Alright. Play a Forest, play Throne of the God Pharaoh. Opponent plays another Dune Beetle. Gets in for 1. Sure. We draw a Swamp. Play a Swamp. Play Bantu's Monument. Kind of like where this is going. Opponent plays a Kenra Scrapper. And a Cartouche of Zeal. Make it in for 5. We draw an Ornery Cadou. So, play Wasteland Scorpion. Drain a life. Play Baleful Amit, drain a life. Putting a -1/-1 counter on, I guess, the Amit. Well, I'm going to block like this. I don't know if that opponent has to have some kind of combat trick, or I don't think they'd make that attack. Okay, Supernatural Stamina. They do kill the Death-Touching Scorpion, but we gain life pretty much equivalent to what we lost. So play a Forest. Yeah, let's Cartouche of Strength. On a creature we control, we will fight a Dune Beetle. Then we will attack, gain a bunch of life, and pass the turn, opponent losing life equal to the number of tapped creatures we control. Alright, opponent gets in for 4. Yeah, that's fine. They have Brute Strength. They hit us for 7. Yeah, but we're gaining more life than that's going to deal with. Alright, Doom to center, so go to combat. Attack for 4. Play Horror of the Broken Lands. Man, I'm kind of surprised that these monuments are going around the table. Because I think we got our opponent. Neheb, the Eternal. Alright. Doomfall. Exile a creature you control, please. Yeah, we're just attacking here. So they're going to trade, because this doesn't have first strike. We'll kill Horror. Pretty low life total. Okay, we untap. So let's... Okay, we can attack Supernatural Stamina. We could also just Supernatural Stamina and then Cadou. I actually kind of like that. Okay, opponent loses a life, and we gain a life. Kill Dissenter, which comes back immediately. As well as getting a zombie, and since the Doom Dissenter enters tapped, our opponent loses another life. We're down to 2. And next turn, unless they have something pretty good, yeah, we got them. Sweet! Another victory. I'm probably winning because I'm in the bronze bracket, and I'm better than a bronze player. I just don't play Arena that much. So apologies if this is just noob stomping, but there's not much I can do about it. It's not like it let me keep my previous limited rank. And if you guys want to see more Arena content, I can do more Arena content. It's just I've been enjoying playing Moto more in recent times, and I'll probably continue to do that for a while. We'll keep this. It's not fantastic, but we do have Aronis as Stalwart. Start Swamp. Opponent starts Mountain. Play Forest. Play Stalwart. Opponent plays a Forest into a Firebrand Archer. Well, have I got just the removal spell for you. Give our guy 1/1 and lifelink. Take out Firebrand Archer. Get in for 3, no exert. Gain 3 life. Yeah. Considering our opponent is probably just straight aggression here. Alright, yeah, we'll Gravedigger back our Rodus Stalwart. We're getting to the point where we can just attack with multiple creatures, cast the front half and the back half of Driven to Despair. I could have sworn the back half gave 1-0 and whenever this creature... 1-0 and Menace, and whenever this creature deals damage. I don't know why I think that, though. Is there another card that does that? Alright, opponent has a Sand Strangler. We draw a Doom Dissenter. I'm going to make them exile a creature they control, and then replay Ronus' Stalwart. There might be a different Aftermath card that gives 1-0 and Menace, or just 1-0 out of the grave. Okay, opponent plays a Crocodile of the Crossing. Gets in for 4, no blocks. So we're hoping for another creature that we can play here. Ronus' Monument is not bad. So that lets us get in for a little more damage this turn. Okay, we hit our opponent down to 13. Next turn, provided our opponent doesn't have removal, we're going to be drawing a bunch of cards, and they're going to be discarding a lot of cards. Alright, they did not attack. That means they can block a creature of ours. You know what? I'm still going to do it. That one will be exerted. That one will just attack normally. So if they double block Ronus' Stalwart, we can kill Crocodile of the Crossing. And if they double block Doom Dissenter, they take extra damage. And if they don't block, they just discard 2 cards. I think they're better off blocking Doom Dissenter, really. So, one thing about Arena that I dislike for streamers is that because it shows your opponent where your cursor is, you can't talk about your plays while gesturing with the mouse, because otherwise people, if they're paying attention, might be like, oh, he's indicating this card. It could be the card that, you know, it gives my opponent more information for free, and I don't like it. On the contrary, I get more information for free as well. So while it may be fair, it's kind of annoying to me. Okay, we're going to play a Bantu's Monument. And we'll play a Crocodile of the Crossing. Drain our opponent for 1. We get to pump Doom Dissenter, so it'll die at end of turn, basically. Alright, they block it anyway. That leaves us with an untapped token. Okay. Opponent says we can't block. That's fine. But we're representing lethal on the board, so our opponent has to have some kind of removal. Do they not? Was this a Gruul beat face? Gruul no math? Gruul? Okay. Please tell me of something. Otherwise I'll be very disappointed in your life choices. Okay. That makes way more sense. Pass the turn. We'll hold on to the swamp. Okay, opponent hits us for 7, down to 2, and then they can sack Ramanop Ruins. Well, we didn't have a choice on a line to take there, so unfortunately this will be a loss. Yep. Okay. No worries. Would have been a lot closer if we not top decked the land there. A lot more cards would have been a lot better than a land. Ooh, Tameo skin. Nice. Okay, we have good 2-drops, Bantu's Monument, and a Horror. I'm going to keep, especially with Combat Trick, I think it's nice with Resilient Kenra. When it starts Evolving Wilds, and a land is good here. We'll also say hello. Okay, opponent plays a swamp into a Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. We'll play a swamp. Ronus is Stalwart. Pass the turn. They play another swamp. Heckma Sentinels. Okay. So, play a forest. Play Kenra. Pump Stalwart. And we're not going to exert, we're just going to attack. Okay. Opponent takes 4. Pass the turn. Alright, they play an island. I am going to try and supernatural stamina this. We lose out on the offensive pump of Kenra, but it is like a 1-for-1 for their Heckma Sentinels. And even if they had a counterspell or removal for our creature there in response to... Okay. It's a little worse because it's bounce, but it's not bad because it lets us reuse its ability. Okay, play a forest. Comes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. So, this card was fine, basically whatever zone it went to, because Eternalize later can be very useful for it. I almost want a Bantu's Monument here, but let's attack and exert, and then decide on what we're going to play. Okay, opponent does not block. So if we play Bantu's Monument, we can drain them for 2, as well as play 2 creatures next turn, regardless of whether or not we draw a land. If we draw a land, we can play, like, Obelisk, Spider, and Doomfall if we wanted to. I think this is fine. So we'll play Bantu's Monument, pass the turn. Had our opponent blocked with the wall, we could have played Obelisk Spider to kill the wall. Opponent does have Oblivion if they drew a land, which would be pretty bad. Okay, they attack for 4, no blocks. Naga Oracle. Okay. They get to manipulate their top deck a little bit. Pass to our turn. Crocodile of the Crossing. Alright. Play Obelisk Spider. Drain our opponent. Yeah, and we'll just play a Resilient Kenra here. Pass the turn. So opponent does have Oblivion now, so Mind Rot out of the grave if they want it. I think out of these cards we would keep Crocodile of the Crossing because it has haste, and it synergizes with Obelisk Spider slightly. Okay, we draw Forest. Play a Forest. The question is, what do we put a -1/-1 counter on? It might be Resilient Kenra, honestly, because we don't mind if that dies. So play Crocodile of the Crossing, drain our opponent for 1. -1/-1 on Resilient Kenra. Opponent gets drained for 1. Yeah, we're just gonna flunge. Math is for blockers. Okay. We're gonna put a -1/-1 counter on the more resilient of the creatures. If we draw a land, we now have Earthshaker Kenra, which will make Crocodile of the Crossing really big. For some reason I was thinking this granted trample as well, and I think it's because the Earthshaker Kenra, the red one, not Resilient Kenra, grants haste as well. Okay, opponent attacks us down to 15. Eternalizing is not casting the creature though, so it doesn't synergize with Bantu's Monument at all. Okay, opponent lethal stings. So next turn we are going to Eternalize Kenra, so we can put the power onto a creature with trample that can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, which is all of my opponent's creatures. That should be lethal. Okay, opponent attacks for 4, take 4. We untap, we draw a swamp. Eternalize, Resilient Kenra. Pump Ronus is Stalwart. We will exert it just in case of any sort of flash blocker. Winds of Rebuke. Okay. Kind of surprised they didn't... I guess they had to. I was going to say, surprised they didn't Winds of Rebuke the token there. I think they wanted to, but... They're going to Thoughtseize our card. Go to 4. Interesting. They play a hollow one. No attacks. I would like to draw things other than lands. That much is certain. Okay, they attack for 4. We can take 4 one time. Shadowstorm Vizier. I mean, I am going to play Throne of the God Pharaoh. So, if we attack, they have to block. If they attack, we have to block. But, they would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Okay, we have to attack here. They block with Labyrinth Guardian. Oh, actually, we had to block Hollow One. Doesn't matter. Once again, we flooded out. Maybe we should have more cards with cycling in this deck. Alright. Also, I went into this format blind, remembering only what I remember of Hour of Devastation and the other one, Amonkhet. Yeah, hang on a sec. I want to drop... How many creatures do I have? 15. I'm actually going to drop Throne of the God Pharaoh, because it seems kind of medium, in favor of running a Scarab Feast. 1, for the cycling, and 2, because hitting embalmed creatures I think seems fair. And I also want to run Dissenter's Deliverance, because I don't mind 1-mana green cycling, and there are times I feel like being able to destroy an artifact might be relevant. Haze of Pollen, maybe, but I think Supernatural Stamina has been fine. I think because we don't have anything with Reach, I'm actually going to run Stinging Shot over it, though. Alright. We've got some cycling stuff. Maybe this means I should be running Pitiless Vizier again. And like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I went into this format blind, only knowing what I know of Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation. So hopefully I'm not doing too terrible for that. We have some sweet cards, and we haven't gotten our best curve of Hapatra on turn 2, which I feel like would be fantastic. If we went Hapatra on turn 2 into Cartouche of Ambition, putting a -1/-1 counter on a creature of our opponents that dies from it is like the ideal scenario. It just hasn't happened. I don't know how likely it is to happen, but it hasn't. Alright. We have a couple of playable cards. Any land gets us to Cartouche and Doomfall, so I think I'm fine with this. Opponent's also on the play and we're on the draw, so we should get to another land pretty handily. Okay, play a swamp. Opponent plays a Steward of Solidarity. That is a pretty good card. We'll play Doom Dissenter. Kind of hoping my opponent, just attacks and doesn't play anything else, because if we had drawn a land, Doomfall would be a great answer to that. Attack for 1. Cycle Wasteland Scorpion. Sweet. Got there. Alright, opponent finds a land. Attacks for 2. Plays a Solitary Camel. So now the question is, do we run out our monuments first? I kind of want to, but I don't know if I can take that many turns off. Alright. If I play Ronus's Monument and I draw Forest, I can play 2 creatures next turn. No attacks. We'll stay back to block. If my opponent starts making 1/1s, it's actually kind of a problem. And I feel like they should, but they're not. Okay, make a 2/2 so we can threaten their attackers. Magmaroth. Okay. Play a Swamp. Play Bantu's Monument. Play Ronus's Stalwart. Pump the zombie. Drain our opponent for 1. No attacks. Magmaroth shrinks a little bit. We do need another land, so we can go Obelisk Spider into Cartouche of Ambition. Okay. When it plays a mountain, abrades Ronus's Stalwart, which unshrinks the Magmaroth. They play a Trial of Solidarity, pumping their whole team. That's pretty good. And we are going to block here. Oh, and it gives them Vigilance, too. That's brutal. Okay. We untap, we draw a Forest. Play a Forest. If we Doomfall, they just exert Steward and it does nothing. We can play Obelisk Spider and Cartouche it. Okay, we drain our opponent for 1. I think we have to play Quarry Hauler here, though. We don't get any value out of it, but we need the blocker. So, do this. Drain our opponent again. This was definitely the safer of the 2 plays we had. Cartouche of Ambition would just fail against any sort of removal our opponent had. This one, we might stay alive. Opponent's going to exert to make a 1/1. Magmaroth shrinks. Okay, and they play Tancrop Elite. If they attack, they're in a really poor position, unless they have something instant speed that's 1 mana and red. Obviously not Bolt. Bolt's not legal in this format, as far as I know. Alright. We are going to trade here. We untap and we get a Quarry Hauler. That's actually amazing. but or would be if we could play it and Cartouche in the same turn. So we're going to play Cartouche of Ambition. We are going to use it to kill the warrior here. Drain our opponent for 1, and we're just going to pass. We do have reach, so we can block the Tancrop Elite, and even if they exert it, we're actually fine. Kind of want to draw a land, so we can play Doomfall and Quarry Hauler in the same turn. Wow, okay. Those are some pretty good creatures. We untap, we get Gravedigger. Baroness's Monument does give trample. So you can play Gravedigger, drain them, pump Obelisk Spider, then pick up like Doom Dissenter and do it again. I think that's fine. This gives us blockers. We're going to gain a ton of life. We have 2 mana. We're not playing anything out of hand. We can either have a Doom Dissenter or a Wasteland Scorpion, or Ronus' Stalwart. I think the pick is Wasteland Scorpion. It's the most efficient usage of mana. It's a Death Touch blocker. We will pump the Obelisk Spider, and we are attacking with it this turn. Like, worst case scenario, our opponent top decks a Cartouche and we're dead anyway, but like, there's no way we're not doing this. They would have to block with so much of their board it would be unreasonable to kill it. They did not make a soldier, so they're anticipating ending the game this turn, I think. They're anticipating attacking, and Steward of Solidarity is better than a 1/1 if they're anticipating on ending the game this turn, basically, is what it comes down to. If they're not doing that, next turn we get pretty nasty if we draw land. See, lifelink is broken. Ooh, Resilient Kenra. It's actually pretty good. So, play Resilient Kenra, drain our opponent, pump the spider, and our opponent scoops it up, because we're going to have lifelink and trample. Wow, alright. Pretty happy with that. I about had a heart attack because I looked over and thought that said start recording. And I was like, did I not record this? The number of times that happens to me is embarrassing. Alright. Oh, man. Once again, very close. If we draw green... Have I ever gotten to go first in this entire draft? I'm going to keep because we're on the draw. This hand is amazing if we draw green, and our opponent skipped their whole first turn. Question marks. Okay, well they did have lands. So start Stalwart. If we top deck another land this turn or next turn, we're going to play Monument into double creature, which will be pretty hard hitting. Opponent is also playing black-green. We go to combat. Attack for 2. I'm also tempted to Doomfall, but I think it's better to make them exile a big creature, which it looks like is what they would be playing. I'll play Ronus' Monument. Okay. Opponent's turn. They play a Swamp. And Beneath the Sands. Yeah, we're definitely going to Doomfall, exile a creature mode, because... Okay, Hooded Brawler is going to be more damage. So we're going to play Hooded Brawler this turn. Hit him for 6. Pass the turn. And next turn we can Obelisk Spider and Doomfall. That's fantastic. Bitterbow Sharpshooters. That's a nice creature you got there, opponent. Please exile it. If we exert, this becomes 5. If we exert, this becomes 5. And that's 11. And then if Obelisk Spider does damage to anything, they lose. Count me in. Not to mention we're going to get +2/+2 and trample. So this game kind of illustrates the importance of curving out. You need to be able to draft a deck that has a good curve. As best you can. Obviously, sometimes you just can't. But if you play something on turn 2, and play something on turn 3, and play something on turn 4, or 2/2 on turn 4, that sort of a thing, and your opponent is dirtling around, not playing something on turn 1, not playing something on turn 2, playing a ramp spell on turn 3, you're going to win. That's just... Unless they have, like, a Fumigate, which has only been in one limited environment, to my knowledge, you're probably going to be fine. It's very important. Also, my opponent skipped their first turn, which was basically like we were on the play and the draw, which is amazing. But I'm not sure why they did that, or if they just misclicked, or what the deal was. So, be careful on Arena and Moto, you don't do that. I have had plenty of times I've F6 through my own first turn, and it is horrible. So please don't do that. Okay, we're gonna keep, play a swamp, and I am gonna just cycle this right now. We need to hit lands. Okay. I am gonna play Aronis' Monument here, even though we can't cast anything else to follow this up with. Next turn, I'm more fine with cycling Stinging Shot. Trial of Strength makes a 4/2 beast. Okay. Well, play Crocodile of the Crossing. It becomes a 4/3 beast. No attacks. If we draw a creature, we can pump Crocodile of the Crossing to get it to deal damage past the beast. I'm a huge fan of the trials and cartouches, and like the repeated value you can get in limited environments from them. I think that's a lot of fun. Cartouche of Knowledge. When it picks up their cartouche that makes beasts, and they draw a card. Okay. They hit us for 5, and they play Sunset Pyramid. Okay, we draw Wasteland Scorpion. I'm just going to Stinging Shot here, and I'm going to play Cartouche of Ambition, because we will not put a 1/1/1/1 on that. Hit him for 5. It undoes the damage, and keeping your life total high in a matchup like this, especially when you can like get away with casting that for free, is pretty good. Now, when my opponent inevitably replays this beast, we can Cartouche of Strength, fight it. Alright, fighting it is not as safe now. I think what's safer is if we play Baleful Amit, we can pump our creature. This way, there's less tricks that will bridge the gap by 2 damage than there is by 1 damage. Because with 1 damage, I know there's the put a -1/-1 counter on it for 2 mana and deal 2 damage to its controller. Alright, my opponent has Shed Weakness. We still trample over quite a bit of damage, we still gain a ton of life, we still have a fight spell now, and we're still in a kind of good place. So, opponent is main phasing a Sunset Pyramid activation. They play an Evolving Wilds, and they Springs. They're playing some kind of huge ramp deck. Okay, we draw Doom Dissenter. So, we can't play 2 creatures this turn. So we're going to play the more expensive of our 2 creatures, because I don't want to play Cartouche of Strength without something to fight, and I don't want to play Driven without multiple creatures. Okay, we'll hit our opponent for 5, gain 5 life, and we're up to 32, which is a pretty fantastic life total. Okay, opponent activates Sunset Pyramid to draw a card. Sweltering Suns. That sucks. Kinda wish I'd played Doom Dissenter, but I'm not playing around Rare Wraths. It's more fair to play around Wraths at Rare when you're in the 7+ win, like, tons of win bracket, basically. When you start getting towards the end of the league and you're like, okay, if they have a Sweltering Suns, I lose. Then it's okay to start playing around Wraths. In the general case, it's not. Okay, we're going to kill their Naga Vitalist to prevent them from basically casting Spring to Mind, the back half. Okay, they draw their last card off of Sunset Pyramid. They play a Forest. And they play an Ornery Cadou. And a Hooded Brawler. Okay, well, we get a Forest. Alright, no attacks. Pass the turn. We're at a huge life total, so we're probably going to be fine here for a bit. I believe opponent is scrying at the beginning of their turn before they draw, but I didn't actually see. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm not used to Arena's interface. Okay, opponent plays a Crocodile of the Crossing. They put another counter on Cadou. An Exemplar of Strength. And... okay. Then they pass. They play a land and then they pass. Okay, we draw Baleful Amit. So, play Baleful Amit. Pump Doom Dissenter. Put a -1/-1 on a creature we control. We're gonna wait for a turn. Okay, opponent scries at the beginning of their turn. If they get another island and spend their entire turn casting Spring to Mind, it's probably not bad. I was gonna say, if they swing out here and leave back the Cadou, that's fantastic. Alright, no blocks, we can take 7. We're at 32. We draw Earthshaker Kenra. Or Resilient, excuse me. I keep calling it Earthshaker, and it's not. We pump here. We pump here. Excuse me.
This is only bad if my opponent's last card in hand is removal. Holy crap, how? Alright. Alright, pass the turn. Last card in hand was Magma Spray. Okay. Opponent's thinking. They've drawn 7 more cards than we have. Cartouche of Zeal. That's pretty good. And that creature cannot block. I'm going to block here. I want to be able to Eternalize. They replay Trial of Strength. And we draw a Forest. Okay. So let's Eternalize. Pumping Doom Dissenter. Attack for 6. Opponent can double block this, but we will be able to kill whatever they double block with. It'll also leave behind a token, which makes Driven to Despair better. Okay, opponent has no cards left in hand, so blocking order doesn't matter. They don't have any onboard tricks. Okay, we get a zombie. Opponent scries at the beginning of their turn. Alright, no blocks. Play an Oasis Ritualist. We get a Hooded Brawler. So play Hooded Brawler, pump here, and then if we cast the back half, we're just casting it for Menace. Yeah, I think that's worth it. Probably could have waited till next turn to get an attacker, but my opponent is going to cast Mind, and they probably have more removal, so I'm going to do this now. So depending on how my opponent blocks, we'd probably kill Exemplar of Strength. We don't care too much about Oasis Ritualist. Okay. Kill the 4/4. They can keep the beast. They take 4, they discard a card they don't have, and we draw a card. And it's a land. Okay. Opponent's turn. And opponent casts Mine, draws 2 additional cards. They only have 11 cards left in their deck. We have 19. They play Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. Battlefield Scavenger. And they play out their last land so they can scry. Alright. Pass the turn. Nothing we can really play right now. Opponent gets to scry. Puts it on the bottom. Untaps. Scries again. Pretty powerful top deck manipulation going on there. Trial of Knowledge. So it looks like all of our opponents' draw power was on the bottom of their deck, which is kind of good, but we have no way to mill them. It's not like we have a compelling, whatever it is, the 2-mana blue mill 5 that also is cycling for 1 blue. Compelling argument, I think it is. I don't know. Okay. I will trade the zombie for the beast if they attack this way. They do exert both. There's no lab man in this format, is there? Yeah, we'll block there. So those creatures aren't untapping next turn. Greater Sandworm. We draw a useless Bantu's Monument. Pass the turn. No attacks. So we need to draw something pretty good off the top here, and I don't know what it is. I don't have a final reward because I didn't pick it. Opponent scries at their upkeep. Oh, you know what? If our opponent swings out, plays no more creatures, and we draw the Dissenter's Deliverance to destroy the Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, we win. But that applies our opponent attacks with both creatures. Okay? No blocks, we're going to take 7. We already used our Kenra that pumps. Gotta be something pretty good here. Top deck says land. So close. That Sweltering Sun's got us. But like I said, I wasn't going to play around a Rare Wrath. Maybe I should have, but alright. Let's see what that gets us. 4 wins. I believe it was 1,500 gems to enter, so we at least got back our entry. Good. And let's open up some packs. Apparently have a Core 2021 pack. We get Rare Wild Card, the best of the rare cards. Amonkhet. Pride Sovereign. Solemnity. Love me some Solemnity. Nissa, Steward of Elements. I actually really like that Planeswalker. I think she's fantastic in Time Warps. Naheb the Worthy. Alright. Well, cool. This concludes the Amonkhet draft. The Amonkhet Remastered draft. Let me know if you liked this, if you want to see more of it. Leave a comment, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. You can always follow me on Twitch. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Same username on there as you find me on here. And yeah, I want you to know that you're all wonderful human beings, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!